In the aquarium hobby, it seems like there is a new piece of equipment practically every other month. Sometimes we decide to get tempted because maybe we're looking to make an upgrade, or we've decided that we're going to change the way our tank is. We've decided we don't want to keep those big long fin fish that need slow flow, and we want something fast like a rainbow fish. And well, they like a little flow, so we better change out our filter. But how do we do that in the safest way possible? Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, this is Bentley, and I wanted to do kind of a simple tip video. I've been doing a lot of these lately, and it's mostly because that's just been what's in my head. I'm thinking about random fish stuff. I'm driving into work or driving home, and I'm thinking about some of the things I've watched or some of the things I'm doing in the near future, and these things pop into my brain, and I decide that's what I want to talk about. Who said I ever really planned anything on this channel? But seriously, if you are going to change your filter, maybe you've got an older filter that's getting a little loud and rattly, like my AquaClear back here. Or maybe you're just really tired of a particular thing your filter does, and you want to replace it with something shiny and new, but you don't know how to do it in the safest way, aka to make sure that our beneficial bacteria colonies aren't suddenly disappearing and we have spikes like ammonia or nitrite. So how do we do this in a way that is efficient and easy? Well, there's a couple different things. Let's talk a few different scenarios, because I think it depends on the type of tank you're keeping. First, we're going to talk bare bottom tanks. Basically no decorations, there's no substrate, you just got a bare, clean tank. This is probably the most complicated version because we don't have any other real surface areas other than the glass itself to house a lot of our beneficial bacteria. So one of the best ways is to take something that's already in your filter and move it. Sounds simple, right? But what if you're changing the entire size of the filter, or maybe the make? Maybe you have a Tidal and you've decided you don't like the skimmer portion at all, and you want to use one of the new AquaClears. Well, all the things for the Tidal are very different in size. They don't really fit that well. But if you happen to have a bag of media inside, or maybe you're in a situation like me where you need crushed coral because there's nothing in your water, so you have no GH and KH, just that simple little bag of media or crushed coral for like a week is really all you need. Because by the time that new filter is put into place and water's flowing through it, as long as you've got a little bit of a beneficial bacteria colony, the rest of it will repopulate relatively quickly in your water. The alternative, and this is going to sound kind of gross, is let us say that you have a sponge. Okay, maybe you're going from a air-driven sponge filter to a powered filter. You need something that's got a little more capacity, maybe you need more flow, whatever that may be. You could take your sponge, put that new filter in there, and then squeeze all that filter gravy out of that sponge, and yeah, your tank's going to look hideous for a little bit. But that powered filter will suck all that up pretty quick, or even a new sponge filter. If you're worried that hey, this particular sponge is way too coarse, I want to move to a finer sponge, but I've only got one air outlet for some reason. Let's make up a crazy reason, right? Squeezing out all the junk that is in there and letting that new filter slowly suck it up, or in the case of a powered filter, very quickly suck it up, will transfer all that bacteria that sits in that mold, right? All that detritus and gunk and fish poo, the filter gravy, it's housing quite a lot of bacteria. And as soon as that gets into your new piece of filter media, you've got bacteria colonizing, like that. Now, you could take that same method and apply it to almost every other version that we're going to talk about. But I wanted to cover a couple different scenarios because some of them are even easier than that. Now, let's say you have a tank that is got some decorations or some rock, and maybe you got some gravel, but you're not doing a full planted tank like this one here. Well, good news. You have a bunch of surface area all throughout your tank that already is housing beneficial bacteria. So realistically, you could probably change your filter out entirely and have minimal impact. What really matters is that water movement moving through all those different surfaces and contacting the current beneficial bacteria that is housed within them. Over the next week or so, that will also populate your filter. But for that short period of time, the other surfaces can handle it. It's pretty simple. But you could also take the filter gravy approach if you wanted to, or the little bag of media, little bag of crushed coral, whatever it may be. All of these kind of stagger up the tier pretty easily and kind of make it so that next layer that we're looking at is actually easier, and you could use many of the methods as opposed to only one. A big planted tank like this. Do you know what's actually doing all the filtration? Those plants. They're doing more filter work than your actual filter probably is. The water movement helps, but those plants are incredibly good at dealing with ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. So when you change your filter in a planted tank, guess what? Just change it. Unless you have an incredibly dense tank, and we're talking like you got a 40-gallon breeder with 200 tetras in it, or you've got a 40-gallon breeder with 15 rainbow fish, or maybe you've got like a 10-gallon tank with 4 bajillion guppies in it. Then and only then would I say you might want to take some of the other approaches where we find ways to help seed that new filter media relatively quickly, or potentially even leave the old filter in for a little while. Like, let's say you're moving from a sponge to a powered filter because those 2 bajillion guppies are just causing way too much stuff, and you're like, I need more juice in this thing. Leave the sponge in. Put the powered filter on there for 2 weeks, then take the sponge out, or just leave it in there the entire time anyway, and now you've got 2 pieces of filtration giving you extra surface area. Easy. Now, I know all this seems really, really, really sensical. And you might be like, well, but does it change based on the filter media I'm using? Or what if I'm doing this? Or I've got this special filter media and it says it's going to give me denitrification and all. None of this matters. We did a video about 9 months ago about the best media for your filter. I'll link it so that if you want to check it out, you can. But in the end, the real answer is none of them matter. Every type of media that tells you it's the bestest, next greatest, whatever, or it does this, or it's all marketing bullshit. All of it. Because most of them will never prove it. All that matters is that they provide surface area for beneficial bacteria to colonize. But so does your gravel, so do your plants, so does the SpongeBob pineapple hut, so does a piece of wood, so does rock. All of these things provide surface area. Having a filter and filter media within it is just extra surface area, and because of the nature of the water moving the most through that particular spot, it will naturally build a rather robust colony of beneficial bacteria. That's really all it comes down to. Anything else, anything from like, oh, an anoxic filter system, or a blah, 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 BioHome Ultimate, the sponge, whatever it may be, it's all marketing. All that really matters is that water flows through it and it has surface area for beneficial bacteria. And when you're changing a filter out, let's say your filter dies and you need to quickly change into a new one because your 20-year-old filter is about to give up the ghost, like the one in my angel tank that I have to change out that I keep putting off. But I got a sponge filter in there doing most of the work, I'm going to be honest. As long as you have water movement and some other reasonable surface area, like a bunch of substrate and some plants, bacteria's there. It's just going to recolonate the new surface, and you really don't even have to seed it. The only time you really need to think about seeding an aquarium's filter is if it is a completely brand new tank. And then you might ask, how do I do the nitrogen cycle, Bentley? Simple. Provide something that creates ammonia and let nature do its thing. Many people nowadays have figured out fishless cycling, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're using a chemical or even like something like the turbo biostarts that help kickstart your bacterial cultures, right? You can often do this with just plants because by the nature of being a plant and being an aquatic organism, it has beneficial bacteria on its surface. And when you put it in there, that beneficial bacteria will slowly colonize the rest of the surface areas, as long as it has something to feed on. A tiny amount of fish food can go a long way. This is what our fish are turning into waste anyway, so putting a tiny amount in your tank as it's getting going provides everything your beneficial bacteria need. Now, could you do this with just ammonia, like ammonium chloride? Of course. I've done it in the past on many of my tanks. And then once you've got your nitrogen cycle kicking off, you're going to see things like algae and all this stuff. This is all part of nature. This is natural. Don't freak out. Be patient. Trust nature. Nature will do its thing. That's it. I hope this video has helped you. Maybe it's taught you something you didn't think about before, or maybe you knew everything here and you're just like, yeah, see, I knew it. This guy told me that I knew it. Bam. Reaffirm the things that you were confident you knew. If you did, leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Literally, these things are all free, and they are the fastest and most powerful way to tell the almighty YouTube algorithm, hey, I like what this crazy fat guy on the internet's doing. Maybe somebody else will too. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching, and stay awesome.